Means was set to face her Senate confirmation hearing today, but Means went into labor with her first child. She will now appear before the Senate Health Committee, chaired by Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, at a later date. Means is a Stanford-trained physician. She left surgical residency to pursue holistic and functional medicine. She later joined Levels. This is a company promoting metabolic health monitoring. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. praises her as a reformer. If confirmed, Means would lead the U.S. Public Health Service Commissioned Corps and serve as well as the nation's top medical voice. President Trump is directing the Pentagon to start testing nuclear weapons. Joining us to discuss is Rick Fisher, Senior Fellow on Asian Military Affairs at the International Assessment and Strategic Center. Good afternoon, Rick. Is this a nuclear escalation where Trump is saying that he is increasing or actually restarting nuclear testing in response to other nations' nuclear testing? Is this different, or does it have parallels to what happened during the Cold War, where the U.S. and the Soviet Union used nuclear tests for deterrence?
President Trump apparently has assessed that other countries are also conducting some level of nuclear testing. That is what he expressed in his announcement a short time before he met with Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping. And his decision is probably based in a lot of context around the timing. President Trump, in his first term, tried mightily to convince both Russia and China to engage in the beginning of discussions that he hoped would lead to a cap on the nuclear arms race. Russia and China have consistently refused, utterly refused, to engage in any kind of nuclear control, nuclear limitation dialogue. And I think that President Trump's decision to resume nuclear testing to better assure the reliability of the American nuclear stockpile is his way to try to signal both Russia and China that this dialogue is preferable to a resumption of a nuclear arms race. But China and Russia are both building up their nuclear arsenals, both at a theater level and at a strategic level. So it is like before, when President Trump decided to leave the Intermediate Nuclear Forces Treaty, he is preparing to lead the unilateral moratorium that the United States has followed on nuclear testing to prove to Russia and China that if they want a nuclear arms race, the United States is prepared to follow suit.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned the reliability aspect of all this. How reliable is the nuclear stockpile right now?
Well, there have been doubts expressed about the reliability of the entire nuclear stockpile. There are some warheads in the stockpile that are very old. Others contend that advanced supercomputing-based testing is sufficient, but ultimately you just don't know unless you've actually done a test. Now, will the United States be resuming tests of full warheads? That's not clear. Will it simply be conducting tests of components of nuclear weapons? Again, not clear. But the timing of President Trump's announcement is part and parcel of his longstanding attempt to try to convince Russia and China to engage in real nuclear reductions. He's clearly frustrated with their refusals and believes that the United States, as a consequence, may not have any choice but to attend to our nuclear modernization plans and to ensure our nuclear deterrent capability by ensuring the reliability of those weapons, which could include some form of testing.
How do our adversaries feel about the U.S.'s nuclear capabilities?
Well, China and Russia don't brag about the possibility that they may be cooperating with their offensive nuclear weapons, but they are willing to talk about, at times, about the degree to which they cooperate in defensive strategic activities. And it's this cooperation in defensive strategic activities that warns many, including myself, that they may be also cooperating in offensive strategic activities. So the United States, in a sense, in my opinion at least, has had a long-standing justification, not just to expand its nuclear arsenal, but also to resume testing to assure the reliability of that nuclear arsenal, both to assure our own people and to assure our allies that if China and Russia undertake nuclear aggression, that they will suffer guaranteed retaliation with weapons that actually work.
So, Rick, how fast would you say is China's advancement in its nuclear capabilities and arsenal? Because President Trump says Russia is second and China is a distant third, but will be even within 5 years.
Well, that assessment of being even in 5 years exceeds recent Pentagon assessments by another 5 years. So if President Trump is convinced that China is going to have as many deployed nuclear weapons as the United States in 5 years, that is a very rapid acceleration of China's nuclear arsenal. And we don't know whether China will be satisfied with parity, nuclear parity with the United States and perhaps Russia. By previous conduct, China wants superiority in everything, and I would also be very concerned that China is actually building toward a position of nuclear superiority against the United States.
So you said earlier that President Trump talked to these countries about reducing their nuclear weapons. The fact that President Trump has now announced that the U.S. is going to start testing nuclear weapons, does that mean there's no path towards denuclearization anymore between all these countries? What is your assessment?
Quite the opposite, Don. The Chinese and the Russians could pick up a phone call and initiate or convey their desire to begin these discussions at any time. The United States has reached out on many occasions, and really most recently, I believe within the last 24 hours, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has refused to consider the idea that it would enter into negotiations that would limit its nuclear weapons. It simply doesn't want to. It wants nuclear superiority, in my assessment, first and foremost, to be able to coerce the United States from defending its allies and partners, especially the democracy on Taiwan. And to his credit, President Trump wants a robust American nuclear posture while pursuing both a national missile defense policy to make sure that Americans don't suffer from a nuclear attack, and holding out the hand of negotiations. President Trump is pursuing a practical, multifaceted approach to this terrific challenge.
Right, Rick, good to speak with you today, and sorry for my being a little bit under the weather. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don.
Now, Vice President J.D. Vance and Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy are speaking in front of the White House. Let's take a look.